WNBA Player of the Week. There have only been 40 triple-doubles in the history of the WNBA. Cheryl Swoops recorded the first WNBA triple-double during the 1999 season, while Caitlin Clark logged the most recent triple-double earlier this week. She now has 102 on the season and is 19 away from Diana Taurasi in second place and 26 away from UNESCO of the New York Liberty. She ain't beating Asia Wilson for the MVP, but she's beating Angel Reese for the Rookie of the Year. That's a wrap. That's over. And props to Angel Reese, who's had a good year, by the way.
Breaking news. Christie Sides lost her job when Stephanie White took over as head coach. Let's examine what went wrong with her. Ever felt like you could coach better than the pros? After watching this video, you might actually be right. We're about to show you 5 coaching decisions so bad they make your Sunday league look like the NBA Finals. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to our channel. It makes such a huge difference to us. Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. From benching Caitlin Clark in clutch moments to ignoring 21-0 runs, Christie Sides' coaching blunders are almost too crazy to believe. Stick around to see if you can spot what went wrong before we break it down. You know what's crazy? Caitlin Clark broke records left and right this season. We're talking about a rookie who came in and lit up the scoreboard like it was her personal fireworks show.
She has lived up to expectations, right? I'm looking at her the way I look at LeBron James, right? For us, just in the women's side of things, and the height that she had, the expectations she had.
Let's start with the rookie, Caitlin Clark Kent. Superwoman, you see what I did there? She was on a tear, and last night was no different. Wings, fever. Caitlin Clark set to go as she broke the single-season assist record.
She's been playing like a top 5 player in the league. She's been regularly dishing out double-digit assists in that time frame. Teams can no longer blitz her and trap her.
Clark was dropping dimes, sinking threes, and making veteran players look like they were stuck in slow motion. But here's the kicker. While Clark was putting up numbers that had everyone's jaws on the floor, the Fever were still struggling to find their groove early on. Picture this. Clark's on fire. She's just drained her third three-pointer in a row. The crowd's going absolutely wild. And boom, Sides calls her to the bench. I mean, what? It's like watching someone unplug your TV right as your favorite team's about to score the game-winning touchdown. These weren't just one-off incidents either. Sides kept benching Clark during her hottest streaks. And everyone was scratching their heads, wondering what on earth was going through the coach's mind. Let's talk about that 21-0 run where Sides didn't call a single timeout. That's wild, right? It's like watching your house catch fire and deciding, nah, I'm sure it'll put itself out. While the other team was running circles around them, Sides was just standing there. Meanwhile, Clark's on the bench, probably thinking she could coach this team better blindfolded and with one hand tied behind her back. You want to know what's even crazier? In some games, it looked like Clark was coaching herself out there. She'd be calling plays, directing traffic, and basically running the show while Sides was doing who knows what. It's like Sides forgot she had a generational talent on her hands and was coaching a middle school team instead.
Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever had over 1.8 million viewers. This is now on an NFL Sunday. They had over 1.8 million viewers, and the rest of the games had around 400,000 viewers. These people are coming in waves to watch one player who has sold out every single arena that she has played in this season. I have not seen the viewership reports for the games last night yet, but I'm sure that it is probably double of what the Indiana Fever game got on Sunday.
When you look at Clark's stats compared to her playing time in crucial moments, it's enough to make you want to pull your hair out. Here's this rookie phenom putting up numbers that have people comparing her to some of the all-time greats, and she's spending critical minutes warming the bench. It's like having a Ferrari and only using it to go to the grocery store. But here's the thing that'll really blow your mind. Despite all this coaching chaos, despite being benched when she was hotter than a Carolina Reaper, Clark still managed to lead the team to the playoffs. That's right, through sheer force of will and talent, she dragged the Fever kicking and screaming into the postseason. In a post-game interview, Clark dropped a hint about her frustration. She talked about wanting a coaching style that would better use her offensive skills. It's like she was screaming, "Hey, let me play," without actually saying it. You could see it in her body language too. The subtle eye rolls, the frustrated sighs. It was clear as day that Clark felt like a racehorse being used to pull a plow. But you won't believe what happened next. Just when you thought things couldn't get any crazier, the playoffs rolled around and, well, let's just say it's a story that'll make you question everything you thought you knew about coaching in professional sports. You'd think making the playoffs would be cause for celebration, right? But for the Fever, it was more like opening Pandora's box. Picture this: Clark's putting up monster numbers, the team's on fire, but opposing coaches are more scared of a rookie than the actual game plan. That's when things got really weird. The Fever finally broke their playoff drought, and the fans were losing their minds. It was like every game was New Year's Eve, and 4th of July rolled into one. But if you looked closely, you could see something was off. It's like they had all the ingredients for a gourmet meal, but the chef forgot how to cook. Here's where it gets wild. Opposing coaches were shaking in their boots about Clark, but Sides' strategies? They might as well have been yawning. It's like bringing a supercar to a race and then deciding to drive it with the parking brake on. Clark was out there breaking ankles and dropping dimes, but Sides' rotations were so all over the place, it looked like she was picking players' names out of a hat. You want to know what's even crazier? In some games, it honestly looked like Clark was coaching herself out there. She's calling plays, directing traffic, basically running the show, while Sides is, well, who knows what Sides was doing. It's like Clark was playing chess, while everyone else was still trying to figure out how to set up the checkers board. Now get this, despite all the chaos, Clark was putting up numbers that would make your head spin. We're talking 19.2 points, 8.4 assists, and 5.7 rebounds per game. That's not just good, that's someone check if she's actually human good. But here's the kicker, even with Clark playing like she had cheat codes, the Fever couldn't seal the deal. How close did they come to winning before it all fell apart? Close enough to make you want to scream into a pillow. They had moments where victory was right there, practically gift-wrapped and sitting in their laps. But then Sides would make a call that had everyone scratching their heads, and poof, the chance would vanish like a magician's rabbit. In the end, the Fever got swept out of the playoffs faster than you can say missed opportunity. But here's the thing, everyone was talking about what could have been. Fans were losing their minds on social media, analysts were picking apart every decision, and it felt like the whole basketball world was playing the what if game. You had this incredible young core with Clark and Aaliyah Boston, both Rookie of the Year winners, mind you. It's like having a winning lottery ticket and then using it as a coaster. The potential was there, screaming in everyone's faces, but somehow it slipped through their fingers. And the aftermath? Oh boy, that's where things get really interesting. Let's just say the basketball world was about to be turned upside down, and the Fever? They were right at the center of the storm. So the Fever finally pulled the plug on Sides, but here's the real shocker. They're not messing around this time. Kelly Krauskopf, the team's president, is talking about a bold approach to chase that championship dream. You know what that means? They're looking for someone who can really unleash Clark's superpowers. Word on the street is they've got their eye on Stephanie White. She's got history with the Fever, and she's been hyping up Clark's potential. But here's the thing, whoever they pick needs to be ready to adapt to Clark's style. We're talking about a coach who can keep up with her offensive creativity and playmaking skills. This next season, it's gonna be wild. You won't want to miss our breakdown of the top coaching candidates who could take Clark and the Fever to the next level. Trust me, it's going to be a game changer.